Hey guys, it's Bobby again. Got one of these Harbor Freight lathes, 12 by 36 full-size lathes here. And last year I decided I was going to upgrade the motor to a DC motor with greater horsepower, and it came from a Treadmill. And I posted that project about a year ago, so I wanted you to see how it's going now, a year later. So as you can see here, this is my small shop, making up a small part of one of the bays of my garage, or one of my garage bays. And so it's kind of the space that I operate in. And then here is the, approaching the lathe, kind of what I see, what I'm looking at. Okay. And here is the back of the lathe that you saw from the other video. This would be kind of the view that you got from the other video. So let's go in and look at each one of these pieces, and I'll show you what I learned. So first thing is the engine mounting bracket is different from what you saw before, and the reason is because the aluminum shims that I put in to adapt the shaft to the larger sized pulley that I bought, though that worked for a little while, but it ended up kind of shaking loose and becoming a problem and introducing vibration, and the shims would fall out and all that. It worked for a little while, but eventually I decided I wanted to get the exact size pulley that I needed, and that ended up being a 15/16, which is the same as 24 millimeters, which at the time that did not click with me, but I did end up getting a 15/16 pulley, and that's what's on there now. However, to get the other pulley out, the mounting bracket was all in the way and blocking it from coming out, so I had to tear the whole thing down and reuse some of the pieces from the mounting bracket in kind of a different way to leave this open. But I did end up replacing the pulley, and now I can access all of this area in the back. And so if any of these switches start going out or having problems, or I don't know, pulley strips out, or I need to change the belt or any of that stuff, I can now do that really easily with this different mounting bracket. Another thing that I ended up learning on it was I put a bunch of JB Weld and Loctite and stuff on these bolts, the various bolts that I used for this, and that's not necessary. I'm able to control and defend against the vibration of the lathe pretty easily and keep things tight with just the lock washers. And then they also have those nylon bolts on the bottom, and I won't be able to show you those, but here's an example of one of those. You notice there's a little nylon stuff inside of there. So between the lock washers and the nylon nuts, that's defending enough against the vibration, and it's working just fine. Alright, so going on to the motor, there's been no issues with it. One of the things I did was that there was one of those heat controller things in the back as part of the Treadmill circuitry and electronics. I did not use that, and it's been okay. I left the flywheel on. That has been fine. And then I also used the end of the flywheel to put my other pulley on. So, you see the pulley there, and then you see the pulley right there. And if you remember, I had to grind down the end of the flywheel there to make this work, and had to kind of modify a little bit. That's all been fine. I was a little concerned about the belt being lower horsepower capacity, as like a partial fractional horsepower pulley wheel, or I'm sorry, pulley belt, drive belt. That's been okay too. Eventually I will need to change it, but for right now it's going okay. Alright, one thing I didn't show you in the last video was where all the electronics go. And I rigged up this little system here with PVC pipe, and that's kind of what the insides of it look like. I left it, I made it so it was not attached to the lathe. I kind of got it rigged up here to hang from the top of the garage, but because of that, it's not attached to the lathe. It doesn't vibrate with the lathe. It's not shaking loose. It's all fine. One of the things I did on purpose is keep this fuse in the back, because I have had times where I need to reach that fuse, and you trip the fuse after a long day of working, and you're maybe going too hard on the workpiece. Things aren't as sharp, and etc. And so you start bogging the motor down, and if you do that for too long, then the fuse trips. I just take the cap off, wait 5 minutes, push the fuse button again, and we're back in business. Alright, so that's all the items, and let me turn it on for you here, and we'll see how it works. That's what it sounds like. All the rest of the lathes pretty much the same. I spend about 2 to 3 days a week out here. Each day that I spend is between 3 and 8 hours, so I think that's pretty good usage on it. It's not all day long every day, but pretty good amount of usage. And that's been continuous for the past year. Took a little break in the summertime when it gets too hot, but since fall started, I've been out here a lot. So thanks for watching the video. Hope this encourages you to upgrade your lathe. Things are going fine, and if anything changes, I will be sure to let you know. Thanks very much.